Hello, my name's Julie Bull and I'm going to be reading the opening chapter from my novel Girls Like Us. Chapter 1, The Reunion. Somehow, it's typical of her to have disappeared. Now everyone is just a click away and you can conjure the life of someone you've barely thought about in a decade or more. Pam has done the seemingly impossible, become invisible and remained invisible. There is nothing when you Google her name, nothing among the images of other people with her name. Rose, who has organised the reunion, tells me that she put her recently retired and genealogy-obsessed husband to the task of finding Pam Reeves and he drew a blank. Says it's never happened to him before, that he just can't find a lead. Even dead people leave a trail. We're in the wood-panelled hall where we stood every morning for all those years, singing hymns and being told what we should be. Breathe on me, breath of God. Then Pam would add the second line, though you have halitosis, and I would try not to lose it, laughing. We were scolded if we only mouthed the words or sang without gusto. We were scolded if we uttered a word before the bell to sound the end of morning assembly went. The teachers stood like soldiers around the room, looking for those in breach, their eyes on the most likely culprits, so always turned our way. The names of girls who were honoured, dating back through 6 decades, run like gold ribbon around the room, encircling us with the spirit of this esteemed establishment, which has educated the cream of Yorkshire girlhood for decades past. I would never have been among these names, of course, nor would Pam. We knew this right from the start, that we were very far away from being the kind of girls honoured by this school. I start to imagine other names that might appear if you rubbed at the gold lettering. Forgotten girls, unnoticed girls, disgraced girls, girls like us. I've clung to Liz and Vicky for the canapes and drinks bit of the proceedings. We were such great friends once. We haven't seen each other since that wedding back in the 80s. There's simultaneously nothing and so much between us now. The conversation flows well enough with all our news, though. We recount the lives of our children as though those lives were now our own. The tables are set for lunch and we are wearing name badges, which is handy because otherwise it feels to me like walking around in the mist, trying to make something out of what are only silhouettes. Pam's absence is so loud amidst the nervous small talk, the groping for memories to share, that I can hear nothing else. Only then does it occur to me that I have missed her. All these years I have missed her. It would be just like her to turn up, of course, to waltz into the reunion and embrace everyone. I've imagined this scenario more than once. I turn my gaze to the entrance and try and wheel her through it. I imagine her as she might be now, looking glamorous but weather-beaten, shrieking with delight, full of stories. I imagine she's done well for herself, been through a couple of marriages, kids, yeah, the kids are great, 3 of them, that'll be all she says. She'll remember all the funny, weird bits of our lives back then. She will have forgiven me. What are you doing in London, Bon? I can hear as well as see her now. Working for a charity, I start to explain. You should come home, she'll say. It'll be a right laugh. I wish she was here. I want the best for her wherever she is. I hate to think of it being otherwise. I notice that when people see me, they think of her. It's like I have a missing twin. So what happened to that girl, Catherine says, that girl you were such close friends with? What was her name? I loathed Catherine back then, me and Pam both. As I look at her now, her chubby hands clutching a glass of Cremant, her half-moon glasses, the magenta dress hugging what remains of her waist, I'm quite surprised to find the vestiges of my hostility still alive and kicking. Don't tell me you don't remember her. You were joined at the hip. Not just twins then, Siamese twins. I remember her, of course. I can bring her to mind as she was at the very beginning. Heart-shaped face, eyes with a certain look behind the glasses, knowing everything, mocking everything, fearing nothing. Catherine is dogged. Pam Reeves, that was her name. I set my face to indicate nothing at all springs to mind. To be honest, Catherine, I can barely remember what happened last week. Menopause, you know, or maybe you don't. Wouldn't do for a surgeon to suffer from menopausal brain fog, I suppose. Catherine's eyes search mine. I look back at her, deliberately emptying my expression of anything to give away. Someone comes to refill glasses. I remove myself to stare at some of the photos provided by the attendees. There we all are, back in the day. There are lights in our eyes.